What is going on, guys? MMA Island team, we got the fight picks, and we got Matt Schnell taking on Tyson Nam. I will start off talking about this one, and I will say that this is a very close fight. Talking about Matt Schnell, how does he win this fight? If I'm talking about Matt Schnell and I'm saying how does he win this fight, he is probably going to submit Tyson Nam or win by decision because those are the main things that he does. At least as of recently, he only has 3 decision wins on his 14-win record, and 2 of them were in one of his last 5 fights. And talking about Tyson Nam, and people are looking at Tyson Nam and they're remembering him in the UFC in a positive way. They're remembering him knocking out Zaruk Adashev in 32 seconds.
Hold
Now,
it.
talking about Zaruk Adashev, around that time was the time that I got into MMA, not into MMA, but into MMA betting. And I bet on Zaruk Adashev, and I run UFC Calculator. And I probably made the UFC calculator look very, very stupid betting on a 3-1 guy to go out there and beat Tyson Nam, who was 18-11 at the time and has only lost to Sergio Pettis and Kai Kara-France. And then he goes out there, obviously knocks out Zaruk Adashev in 32 seconds. Now he gets a step up in Matt Schnell, who's coming off a loss against Pantoja. KO loss in the first round against Alexander Pantoja, who, as we know, is an absolute beast. Going up against Askar Askarov, I mentioned that Alexander Pantoja versus Askar Askarov was the Tony Ferguson, Khabib Nurmagomedov of the flyweight division, which I think is my favorite comparison I've ever made in my life. Because what an amazing, crazy fight that was. And Matt Schnell goes out there and gets knocked out by Alexander Pantoja. Can you really put too much stock into that? I would say no. He submits Luis Smolka, Jordan Espinosa, 2 guys who are in the UFC currently. He got knocked out by Hector Sandoval and Rob Font. Man, going back to what I was talking about, if how these guys win this fight, Matt Schnell, he's going to submit Tyson Nam. Tyson Nam, he's going to have to knock out Matt Schnell. Now, which one do I think is a little bit more likely to happen? I'm going to say that I'm going to lead with Matt Schnell in this one. I just think Matt Schnell is going to be able to take this fight to the ground. I think that he's able to kind of keep it there. Being in the flyweight division, Matt Schnell, he hasn't shown that a crazy amount of takedown accuracy, takedown defense, or he doesn't have the crazy amount of takedown accuracy or crazy amount of takedown averages is what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
But he is very active with his submission average per 50 minutes at 1.6. With the amount of fights that he's had in the UFC, that's pretty good. So I do value his chances of going out there and finding a way to get this fight into the clinch, into the ground play like area, and try to submit Tyson Nam. I do think he can strike with Tyson Nam as well. Tyson Nam could definitely knock him out, but just looking at what we've seen at Tyson Nam's got very, very good striking defense, but he's got 28% striking accuracy in his 3 fights in the UFC. Obviously, the Zaruk Adashev, getting a knockout, your accuracy is bound to go up from there. But I just think that you got to value Matt Schnell here. He's got the reach advantage. I think he's more accurate. He's more active in his strikes, and he absorbs less with 65% striking defense. You would think Tyson Nam absorbs a low amount, but no, he absorbs 5.76 per minute, which is pretty high. And also, Matt Schnell having a huge advantage in the ground game. I think that you got to value that a lot more. And another thing I think people should be thinking about is that Tyson Nam is 36, kind of being past your prime there. And can you really count this Zaruk Adashev fight? Can you really count that as a crazy, game-changing, career-changing win for Tyson Nam? I really don't think so. Tyson Nam also has a loss against Zhalgas Zhumagulov, who we saw recently fight Halian Paiva. And then Zhalgas Zhumagulov absorbed like 5 groin strikes in that fight. But that's besides the point. Tyson Nam and Matt Schnell really got to go with the guy who's got the bigger advantages here. And you could say Tyson Nam is going to it has the advantage in the striking game. I think you're probably right. Not looking at the stats, I just think that he's probably got the power advantage. I think if anyone gets knocked out, it'd probably be Matt Schnell. But I think that Matt Schnell is going to be able to survive in the striking game. It's not like there's this huge difference compared to where there is with the ground game. Matt Schnell is a way more active submission specialist. Going out there, getting triangle chokes, arm bars, guillotine chokes. He's even got an inverted triangle on his record. Just got to go with the guy who I think is a little bit more active in the ground game, and I think he survives in the striking game, as I mentioned. So I will take Matt Schnell. I think he gets this one done. I don't know, man. I think he gets this done either by decision or submission. Obviously, it's not that crazy amount of confidence that you could say for him to get it done by knockout. But I'm going to go with Matt Schnell by decision. I think that's the safe pick, and I will pass it on to Zach.
So I just want to mention a couple things, and I can absolutely see the Matt Schnell pick. It's a very reasonable choice. This fight is one of the closest. It is probably the closest fight on the card. But I do want to mention that Tyson Nam has never been submitted in 30 fights. That's pretty impressive. And I think that the absorbed striking numbers can be discounted just a little bit, considering the fact that he's only had 3 UFC fights. And in 2 of them, he did absorb a lot, but those were to the absolute best of the best. I mean, Sergio Pettis is most likely going to fight for the Bellator bantamweight title after the winner of Archuleta and Patchy Mix. He's going to be that guy. And we know how good Sergio Pettis is. And then he lost to another top contender in Kai Kara-France. And Tyson Nam was clipping Kai Kara-France. Yes, Kai Kara-France won every round, I believe. But there were moments of success for Tyson Nam in that fight. And Matt Schnell is a guy that I've been impressed with. But one thing that really worries me about him is his durability problems. He gets knocked out a decent amount and by less powerful strikers than Matt Schnell. Than Tyson Nam. Tyson Nam has absolute bombs in his hands for flyweight. And getting knocked out by Rob Font, okay, that's fine. And Hector Sandoval, though, it's kind of odd. I mean, we know Matt Schnell, how to really beat him is if you have a better ground game than Matt Schnell, then you're absolutely going to win. And if you have good striking too, just on the feet, he gets into these brawls. His nickname is Danger. Is very true about him. He causes danger to all of his opponents because he does not go out there to be technical. On the ground, maybe, but man, this guy's a wild man on the feet, and we've seen that. And it gets him in trouble. It gets him caught. And I think the guys that he submitted in the UFC, and you notice a pattern that they're not exactly the highest caliber of strikers. Tyson Nam is that guy. Tyson Nam is that higher caliber of striker. Now, can he submit him? Sure, I do think he can, but I believe that Tyson Nam has fought a better submission artist than Matt Schnell and Eduardo Dantas and was able to survive and knock him out. So I'm going to have to go for Tyson Nam winning the striking exchanges and say that he wins this fight. This fight's very evenly matched. I think it was a very respectable call-out. You never see call-outs as reasonable as this from Tyson Nam, and lo and behold, the fight's getting made. But yeah, I can absolutely see this fight getting won by Matt Schnell. I don't think that's you're not wrong to pick that fight that way at all. But the way I see it, I think Tyson Nam is going to win by knockout. And a lot of finishes on this card.
Definitely interesting to see how this fight ends. Because as we mentioned, you mentioned how he's never been submitted before in 30 fights, and that's typically how he wins the fights. So it'll be very, very interesting. You could bring up a lot of good points. I think I bring up a lot of good points. So it's really interesting to see how this fight goes. So we want to see what interesting points you guys can bring up. So make sure you guys are letting us know who you guys got in the comments. Make sure you guys also subscribe to the channel. Check out the other fight pick videos. I usually don't do it in this order, but also like the video.